Hello, sisters. Welcome to the Sacred Medicine Podcast, weaving powerful, soulful practices into functional medicine. Step into this beautiful space of devotion and explore everything from nurturing foods, rituals, sexuality, and awakening your innate sensuality. It is time to own your radiance. This is the Sacred Medicine Podcast. Hello, this is the first episode of the Sacred Medicine Podcast of 2018. I hope you all had the most beautiful Happy New Year celebration. It is a new year. I am so looking forward to it. If you haven't listened to the planetary updates, and if you're into astrology, I would check that out. They came out the last Wednesday of December. Jennifer Angel gave us a rundown of what's to come for 2018, as well as for all 12 astrological signs as well. What to look for, what to expect. And today, my very special guest and just person that I completely love to death is Amber Chalus. And she is someone I met through the podcast world and just a kindred spirit. And we've met in Manhattan this past year in 2017, and we had such a blast, and I love her, and she has a great voice, and she has a great podcast called The Liberated Woman, so if you haven't checked that out, you definitely need to. And today we're going to just be talking about kind of wrapping up our 2017, our highs of 2017, and what we're creating for 2018. And I thought she'd be really great because, let me tell you, first of all, she has a great voice. But she is awesome at meditations. And I wanted to just ring in this new year with a really short, beautiful meditation. And I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to love her if you haven't heard her. She's been on the podcast before. I will link that in the show notes if you want to listen in on that. We did actually one interview, and then we also did a very short live interview in person when she was in Manhattan. And now I've got her back on again. So it was really nice to reconnect with her and find out what's going on. She's got so much going on in 2018. I'm so excited for her. And so we just jam about that and jam about life a little bit and what we're both really looking forward to in 2018. And then we end with a really beautiful short meditation. So I hope you enjoy it, and on to the show. Today I have one of my really close gal pals from the podcast world, and that is Amber Chalus. Thank you so much for being here today. I have been so looking forward to just jamming with you again.
I know. I really have missed you, and I'm so grateful that you invited me when I got your message. I was like, yes, this is the perfect way to end 2017 and the most magical way to begin 2018.
Yes, so we are recording this actually on New Year's Eve, December 31st. It's the evening. And so this will be coming out next week for all of you. But I wanted to just dive a little bit into, tomorrow I'm actually, I worked all weekend, and tomorrow I'm heading to the mountains, to this place called Kripalu. It's a yoga retreat place. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. I love going there, and I'm going to be spending the whole entire day there. I'm actually going to be probably leaving about 5:30 in the morning. It takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours to get there. Journal in hand. It's going to be like a spa day, soaking in the hot baths, and maybe a nap or two. Awesome food, super healthy. And just kind of reviewing my 2017 and then writing down my intentions for 2018. So I'd love to just share what our 2017 highlights were. I'd love to hear yours.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. Well, first of all, I want to say that tomorrow sounds amazing for you. It's probably nicer than where I live. And I've seen all about this beautiful yoga center online, and I would it's a dream of mine to go. So someday it'll be you and I chilling out. Maybe another New Year's, we'll be doing this together in person.
Yes.
But for now, we're just all very happy for you, Margaret, because that sounds incredible. And we're just going to be soaking up all your good jujubes and vibes next week when you're back on the show.
Yes.
All right. So,
I'll be on Instagram, by the way, so you can kind of
oh,
watch
good.
and
So everyone follow Margaret so we can take it all in. If you follow me on Instagram, all you're going to see is a lot of cold. Though I am, it's that's beautiful. The thing about this time of year. It is beautiful, and it's a time of reflection. It's a time to kind of turn inwards, which is why it's so important that you're doing that, and that we all do that we take some time to look back and honor both the good and the bad, the beautiful, the not so beautiful, instead of just rushing to the new year. Because I know there's so many articles. It's like, set your intentions, your New Year's resolutions. And it's like we just bypass everything we've experienced.
Right.
And to me, it's important to celebrate. So today, chatting with you is kind of like my opportunity to hear about your celebrations and mine. And 2017 has been an interesting year for so many people, energetically, like spiritually, physically, even in our relationships. I know that everybody has kind of went through some turmoil. Yeah. So it's kind of nice to look back and see what we can be grateful for, even despite all of that.
Exactly. All right. Well, do you want to start? I'd love to hear some of the things.
I feel like last year I did a similar podcast with a friend of mine, Katie. We did our Badass and Bear. She did her Badass and Bear podcast, and we talked about my intentions for the year. And to be honest with you, I feel like I had no idea what I was in for in the next 12 months. And I know you can say that every single year, but now it's been a year of a lot of change and evolution. And I know that was part of my intention, was change and growth and evolution and, stepping into a different version of myself. And it really has been that for me. And it started with a couple of yoga retreats and some reflection at the beginning of the year. I went to an Enneagram retreat in January, and that blew my mind, which then kind of set me into a path of like some really deep work. And luckily, I was able to go to New York for my birthday, my 30th birthday, and go and see my girls, including you, Margaret, which was amazing.
It was so much fun.
It was so much fun. And I'm really proud of myself for taking that trip, not because it's, people go to New York all the time, but you have to understand, I'm from a place where not a lot is expected of women. You grow up as a small girl and it's like, yeah, you're going to be a housewife, you're going to be a farm wife, you're going to be blank. We don't expect you to know a lot, to do a lot, to experience a lot. There's not a lot for you to look forward to except for like serving other people. So taking trips like that always to me represent a really immense amount of freedom to go and explore my interests and explore what makes me happy and meet people who have similar interests, who have like-minded souls. Like that kind of experience really is important to me. So I was glad that I took that trip, and it kind of set me on a new path for the next decade of my life. And then that's something that then gave me the courage. And this is really important here. Okay, ladies, I was actually listening to a podcast. It was Tim Ferriss' podcast, and he was interviewing Terry Crews, and he said something that I'd never thought of before. And it's so true. He was talking about the importance of courage and saying that it took courage for your mother to have you. And we just think, oh, I was born. It happened because of this. Maybe they decided, maybe they didn't decide, maybe, whatever. The circumstances of why you were created doesn't really matter. But the fact that you were born, it took courage of a woman. It took her courage. And I needed to build that courage in order for me to eventually become pregnant with my husband this summer. And I'm now on my way to giving birth to my first baby here in March. So I'm really excited about that.
Congrats.
Thank you. It's so that change, it's kind of like that, the ultimate evolution, right? I'm inviting it into my life and saying, okay, I'm ready for change. I'm ready for growth in my business, in my personal life. And the depth that you have to go into to experience a lot of these things, you're never prepared for it, and you never actually know what it is. So it's very much a mystery. And then that kind of invited me to surrender, to kind of go with the flow, experience things. And I know for you, Margaret, you're constantly evolving, changing, growing, learning new things. And watching you grow your new business from like this tiny seed, it's kind of like that similar thing. It takes this courage to be the person that would develop the idea and cultivate that and love it enough for it to grow into something more. And I don't think that enough women and girls are taught that they have the capacity, that they're not given permission to do it. And when you choose to do something that not every other woman would do, it's kind of like, it's just like a flower. It just blossoms into something great, and it can change so many lives. And that's what I'm so excited about this year.
Thank you. So, okay, so you're due in March, which is coming up, and it's going to be here in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Are you like excited? Are you nervous? Are you everything?
You know, I'm seeing this very spiritually, because to me, it's just a soul that I, used to be connected to more closely when I was not a body. And I'm going to see that soul in physical form again.
I love that.
It's kind of like we're coming back together.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot less fear attached to that. It's not a mystery as in like, what is this thing that I've got to figure out? It's more of, hey, we are two souls that had decided many, many years ago that we would come together, and this is just the right time. So I'm really excited about it. I mean, there are the mundane things that we have to all go through and make decisions about, like cribs and beds and clothes and all sorts of stuff. But really having the courage to be the soul that I was born to be, and to welcome the soul that has always been wanting to come. That is the most exciting thing to me.
Oh my God, I love the way you put that. I've never heard it quite said in that way at all. And I love the way that feels.
Well, I'm so in tune with nature, and I love nature. We've talked about that on the podcast before. And I just think, no tree is misplaced. No animal, no human being, nobody is here by mistake. Nobody is here by accident. And we can choose to believe that there's a purpose for us, or we can choose to believe that, it's an accident and life's happening at us and we have no control and we're a victim. Or we can believe, hey, before I was born, I had an intention. I had something that I was born into this world to do, to create. And that changes the way you live. It changes the way you see the world around you.
Totally. So what are you, okay, so obviously 2018, you're looking forward to this big change, this beautiful soul that's coming into your world, you and your husband's world. And also you did explain a little bit about this beautiful space that you have. It like came out of nowhere and I was like, oh my God, it's gorge. Yeah. So tell me about that.
I feel like that is kind of a collective growth for so many women. I'm not the only one who's been doing this, because when I've been looking at other women in their businesses and, in their podcasts, it doesn't matter who I'm looking at. I've watched a lot of women blossom and grow and use their voice more clearly and more openly. For me, when I started my business, it was completely at home. It was completely online. And then, I rented a little space to teach yoga, and it just kind of grew a little bit by little. And even starting the podcast was like a big leap for me. I remember being terrified because I was afraid of what people would think and what would I say and what would happen. And this is like the next evolution of it. Now that my home is going to be more of a home filled with more people, I have moved my office into a beautiful space downtown, and it's combined with a couple other women who have businesses, and it's a collective space where we can cultivate new ideas and cultivate new community. It's just amazing. I can teach yoga, I can work with my clients there, and I can make my videos and all that stuff. But more than anything, it's kind of like a symbolic representation of what's happening for women everywhere. We are coming out of our shell. We are coming up out
Yes.
of the soil. For so many years, we've been hidden away and kind of like tucked in the corner. Oh, you just stay there and, do it. Just, don't be seen or heard. And men have been invited to start businesses, start empires, become great leaders. And, when a woman does that, she's ostracized and she is criticized and she is put down. So even to do something like this, I mean, my grandfather, he owns a very big, successful business, probably one of the most successful businesses in town. And he didn't even know I had this space. And my mom was telling him, and he's like, oh, I didn't know it was there. Because we're so not on the radar of so many people.
Right.
But we're doing it for ourselves. And if I had asked his opinion 6 months ago, oh, do you think I should start a space for women to come together and meditate and, heal and grow? He would have rolled his eyes.
Exactly.
And it's about no longer asking for permission.
Oh, exactly.
And creating those spaces for us to grow and creating those spaces for us to become who we were meant to be.
Oh, well, I love it. Your space, it's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. And now, is this the thing that you were telling me about, that you were a space that you were renovating? You had mentioned something about renovating something.
Well, that's just the icing on the cake, darling. So my husband and I, we own a home, but before I went to New York, we purchased a forest cottage that completely needs to be renovated. Like, we started it. It's still a work in progress. But in the end, what I really want is to be able to have, like a yoga yurt, and it'll be like a healing place.
Oh my God.
It'll be our holiday space. It'll be our lake space, just a home away from home kind of place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have asked if we're going to move out there, but really it's going to be a place where, no TV, no technology, just to be off the grid and in nature. And I spend a lot of time in nature. It's really important to me.
Yeah.
And
I hear
especially when you do the work that we do and we're completely in other people's faces all the time and we're always surrounded by people, it's nice to have somewhere to go and retreat.
It is. And how far is that from your home?
About a 20-minute drive.
Oh, that's not bad. That's super close. Yeah. Oh my God. Well, and you haven't posted pictures of that, or is that still in the midst of being renovated?
It is. The thing about social media is, I'm telling you girls, there'll be people listening who obviously know who I am. I know sometimes it might feel like people are trying to be perfect online. My intention isn't that I need to be perfect online. It's just when I have somebody come across my feed, I don't want them to look at an absolute mess.
Right.
And feel like, that's just a shock to my system. And this is a space that had been left for years, and it had, it took months just to get all the mice out of the space. So I'm waiting till it gets to a little bit more presentable. Let's just put it this way. I'm not rolling a yoga mat on the floor yet. Okay.
Got it. No, these things take time,
They do take time. And it's really, what really amazes me is, and I have to remind myself this all the time, and I know you probably do too, Margaret, the life I'm living now is somebody else's dream. And even if this doesn't look like what my dream is, I might dream of having a life more similar to somebody I follow and I'm admiring for years and thinking, oh, I wish I could have it like she has it. Yeah, but what I have right now, there is somebody who is looking at me thinking, that's my dream.
Right.
And if only I could have that. And it's kind of like a kind of inception of realizing, I am in somebody else's dream. I should be as grateful as they would be in this environment. Yeah, it might change, but it is somebody's dream, even if it's not exactly the way I wanted it to be right this second.
Right. Yes. I hear you with that. Well, so 2018, is there anything else that having a baby, that's huge. First of all, I think you're good for a while.
Yeah, that'll be big. The biggest challenge will be not balancing, because I don't believe really in balance. There's so many women are taught that they're supposed to balance, and they realize that they can't. It'll be being able to grow my business in a way that feels good.
Yeah.
As well as create the family that feels good to me. And one thing that I've battled with my entire life is going against the norms. Like I said before, even owning my own business or having my podcast or writing a book or everything that I've done has been against what most other women who have had the exact same growing up as me,
right.
It's against what they would have. So even raising my family, I mean, I'm hoping, my intention is that I can follow women that I admire, even if they don't live close to me.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, I mean, my husband's from England and his family lived very differently. And there are women I follow on Instagram and women that I know personally all over the world. And just because something's done the way it's been done for a long time where you live doesn't mean that's the way that you have to do it.
Right.
And this is so important, whether it's how you see marriage or how you see motherhood or how you see your business. Just because everyone else is doing it doesn't mean that that is the perfect way or that's the way you should do it. There is a woman on this planet somewhere else that is having great success and having the best time of her life doing something the way that you wish you could do it. Just because your, sister-in-law doesn't do it that way or your grandmother doesn't do it that way doesn't mean there's not a grandmother in Europe or in Africa that is doing it that way. So it's kind of like opening up my eyes to what's possible and being very intentional with what I invite into my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well said. I love that.
Yeah. So that's my 2018, just being very intentional with both my business and my family.
I love it. Well, let's see. For me, 2017, there were lots of ups and downs. I would say the highlight, my dad was sick for a little while there. He's much better. And, that was very difficult. That happened over the summer. And, I had I had a space in the city for my practice that, the lease had ended end of June and I was taking care of him. So I hadn't had time or energy even to look for other space. And I had put my patients on hold while taking care of him and stuff. So, around late August, I started thinking, okay, I need to get a space in the city. And I had started looking and I saw many places and there was just, it started to help me become really clear as to what I wanted. And when I approached, commercial realtors, I'm like, this is the kind of space that I want. And I want it to be such and such and this big with, this amenities and da-da-da. And they were like, that's really rare. And, you can't, that's like impossible, and then I looked at sharing spaces with other practitioners. I looked at, because I'm not in the city full time because I also, live and work in Connecticut. So it was just, it took months, but I was like, no, I know that my space is out there. I know, and I'm not giving up and I'm not going to listen to all of these people who say that what I want doesn't exist. It exists. And
exactly. I love that perspective.
And I found it and I got it. And let me tell you, getting commercial space in Manhattan is like giving your left arm and leg. So
first of all, it's a miracle to find it. Then it's a miracle to even get it.
Yes. And I was like, okay, first hurdle, next hurdle. And then after that, it was like, literally holding your breath because you don't know how many people want it. And then there's like, just, it was crazy.
I feel like you had a vision within you for so long that it was just calling you forward.
Yes, there was. And I could see it. And every single day I would wake up and I could see the space in like, I'm like, I want it needs to have windows. There needs to be a lot of beautiful sun that comes in. It needs to be really warm and inviting and like a sanctuary. And it needs to have these beautiful soft colors. And I could see the walls. I could see everything. And when I got the space and I walked in, I was like, oh my goodness. And then I started ordering the furniture, and that all took time. And because I didn't really have the last space I had that I was in was stuff from the person we were sharing it. So
Yeah.
None of it was mine. None of it felt like mine, of course. And there was literally not enough space or room for my things and for equipment and IV things and whatnot. So I'm like, I want my own space. And there was a little tiny part of me that was like, maybe not yet, maybe next year.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something in me that was like, no, you are ready now. This is it. This is the time. We're doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. All right. Well, let's see. Let me see. I was so open and like visualizing it. And just like every day, my prayers were like, send me the perfect space. If it is meant to be, it will be mine. Wherever it is, let me find the space. Let it find me. And there it came, flowing in, and everything literally flowed. Even though I was like, oh my God.
This didn't happen in the span of the 12 months. This started in August. So this has only been the past 6 months of because now I'm just saying from the outside looking in, because I have not yet been to the space, but I will. Looking at your website and looking at the photographs of the space, it's incredible. It looks like it's been established for 50 years and it's just evolved into this space. But no, this has come from your heart and it is now out there. And now it's a space where women can go to, and then they can go and heal and they can go and work with you. And that is so exciting.
I am you don't even know it. Now, let me backtrack and say that this space would have never come to be unless I had launched my podcast November of last year and of 2016. And
isn't that funny how our podcasts have been like that, the one thing, and it just everything else grows from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because before that, I enjoyed what I was doing. I was like, okay, this is fine. This is good for now. And then there was a time where I wasn't sure like what I was going to do. And I was like, I don't know, something about a podcast. Yeah. I had no idea even when I went in to do the podcast, what to do, how to interview, what I sounded like, nothing. I mean, seriously, I was like, I don't even.
And now, you sound like butter and all of your listeners are obsessed.
Yeah, people have told me that I have a good speaking voice.
You really do. It is. We could listen to you all day.
You have a great voice too, by the way. I know people, I'm sure, have told you, but you do also have a great voice.
Well, I think we work well together, my friend.
I think so too. So here I go, and I'm like, I know exactly what I needed for this space because it's already in my mind. Mm-hmm. And it was just picking out and then getting things shipped and setting it up. And
was there a lot of renovations involved?
The whole place needed to be renovated.
Yeah, it all had to be done. So there was a little bit of elbow grease.
Yes, you should have seen it when I walked in. I was like, yikes. But actually, the commercial realtor people did up, whoever moved out, like left some holes in the walls and stuff like that, like little ones. So that was all repaired, and new carpets and new, and paint. And so then I walked into the space and I was like, okay, here we go. Now time to make this thing look fucking fantastic. And it has to feel really good. And it also smells really good because I've got the essential oils going and the diffuser and stuff. So now I get to do all the things that I love, even more so. Like in the last space, I couldn't use essential oils because it would smell too much, and we don't want it to smell too much. So I couldn't do that. I didn't have space for my IV vitamin infusions because that requires like space and a fridge and all this stuff. And now I'm like, I want to be able to do no holds barred on all of the things that I love, that I'm good at. And I want to be able to offer it to my patients and not have any issues. And I don't want to have to share it and know what days I'm coming and can't come. So I'm like, I'm just going to bite the bullet and rent the whole space out myself.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fantastic. And I love it. I love walking into it. It's so yummy in there. It's so peaceful and tranquil.
So you now have this new space, which sounds luxurious and peaceful and serene, but you also are balancing so many other things. So what has your life looked like in the last few months now that you've got so much on your plate?
I do have a lot on my plate. There are some weeks, well, when I was setting it all up, that I was definitely kind of like quote unquote working 7 days a week. Going to the space, setting it up, putting furniture together, all that stuff. So now I work 3 days a week in the city. 3 days a week in Connecticut. And then the rest of the time I'm in the city. And then I leave self-care days and hanging out with my friends and family days. And those, I stick to those. And the gym, working out, I also do a massage once a week and I do my infrared sauna once a week. That, before anything else, goes in my calendar and I don't not do those things. I'm like, I need my self-care. Yeah. My self-care is key. It is like it's an appointment in my life. And so that goes in and I make time for it. And the days that I'm in the city, I see my patients all day and I devote my heart, my soul, because I love it so much. And then when I do urgent care, those are actually really long days. And then in between both, I schedule in time. So now that everything's set up, I don't need to spend my days off in the office, like setting up or moving or anything like that. So that's all set up. So now my days off are like true days off, which is really great. And I've already literally planned out my 2018 vacation already. Good. So that's in there. And just to let them know also, like, these are the days I need off. I'm going to conferences or I'm going on vacation or weekend getaways or what have you. Because while I'm loving my life, I also don't want to miss out on living. And the biggest thing that my biggest thing is traveling and like having that freedom to travel. And it just makes me like such a happy camper when I can kind of like, oh, next weekend I'm heading to the mountains, or because that's really also what I really miss. I love the city. I love Manhattan, the vibe, everything. It's great. I mean, there's nothing like it. But for me, like, my soul needs the mountains. It needs away time, and it needs like Utah. It needs like the Red Rocks of Sedona. It needs Yosemite. Like, I have those already scheduled in my planner. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a retreat in Yosemite, during one summer. Like, how freaking cool. Like, we can do like an hour and a half, whenever we can fit in our, a talk, and then being able to hike the rest of the time, like just being in nature.
Yeah, I'm behind you with the whole travel thing. And that's part of why I know, we both work so hard, but at the same time, we want to make space for those things, the time to travel, the time to go and be in the spaces that really fill us up. And as an introvert, especially, what I found is that it can be so easy you've created the space where people can access you. You've created a life where a lot of people need you and they need from you. And that can take a lot from your energy. Yeah. And to have those times set aside, especially for you to rejuvenate and refill up and reconnect with what matters, it makes everything else that you do kind of so much richer.
Totally. Totally. Because, working urgent care, it's long hours, it's a lot of people, and the burnout rate is super high. So I don't want to go, and I don't want to get burnt out in general. I mean, so that's why I do lots of self-care. I make sure to schedule in time off, because that fills me up so then I can continue giving to my patients and family and friends and all that good stuff.
Oh, and I really love, this is still stuck with me, when you said, even though you love your life, you still want to take time to live your life, and that your career and your purpose on this planet to help other people is not everything that you are. And it's just as valid and as important for you to receive and take that time.
Yeah, yes, totally. And it's so important to me. I I have a vacation fund that I've contribute to every other week just to have the ability. So the excuse will never be, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Which used to be the case, I mean, when I was, there were definitely times when there have been hard times in the past several years. And I'm like, no, I can't not live and say no to travel. So I'm going to make an automatic, transfer into this particular fund. And it's going to happen every other week. And then I don't really even check on it because I just don't even want to see. And I just love that it just accumulates. So
it's just waiting for you.
Exactly.
So tell me about some of these trips in 2018, because now I'm getting, you kind of got me excited.
Okay. So a couple of like medical conferences. So, that there's one in Florida, there's one in Vegas. Then I've got already booked with my girlfriend in April is, oh my God, not St. Lucia, Turks and Caicos. It's Turks and Caicos. We're going to be there for like 5 or 6 days. And so we already have that book, which is great. And then May comes around. It's my birthday month. So probably do a long weekend somewhere. And I've got like little things scattered, like family in Atlanta, girlfriend in Miami. I've got Sequoia and Yosemite National Park in the summer. That's for sure. I'm going to with my nephew and my brother, we're going to this like camp for kids, and it's for adults too. And it's along the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, which I used to go to as a kid. And so I'm going because my nephew's going. He's going I was supposed to go last summer. I was scheduled to go, paid for, but I stayed back to take care of my dad. So I couldn't go. I was so bummed. But I had to do what I had to do. And so I decided, nope, I'm going to do that this year. And then part of my Europe trip was also canceled last year. I came home early. And so I'm going to be going to that. And that's going to be Cinque Terre and in Italy for there's a writing workshop happening. That's for 3 days by Talking Shrimp.
Now did you not go to a writing one in 2017 too?
I couldn't because I had to come back.
You didn't end up going.
I had to cancel half of my trip.
Okay.
Yes, I
went. As I feel like I'm having deja vu, and I'm feeling like I know she wanted to write. That was part of your intention for last year was to write.
Desire ever.
Yes. So this is the year. It's like the space has been created.
So I had to cancel half of my trip and my trip to Spain to see my family. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I have to go because I didn't make it this year. And they said that I can go this year. So I'm going to go and then see my family in Spain while I'm out there. So that'll be like June. I'm going to the Young Living Convention in Utah. And while I'm there, I'm also going to be spending like 4 days in the mountains and rafting and camping out.
Yes.
I know. And then September, going to Santa Fe, New Mexico for a wine and chili festival with my girlfriend, the same one that's going with me to Turks and Caicos. I think that's it. But I don't know. There may be another thing I'm missing, 1 or 2. There's something like every month.
That is
insane.
First of all, you're teaching all of us that it's okay to take permission to do these things, because I know, the whole it must be nice type of thing comes up a lot for women when they take time for themselves. Even having a bath, or you tell a woman, you're like, it's really important that you do self-care. And they're like, yeah, but I can't. No, that is just not the point. So what I want to hear from you, Margaret, is why are these things important to you? What do you get out of these experiences and these trips that you don't get out of your everyday life?
Oh my God. I mean, first of all, I feel like the past couple of years, as much as I love to travel, I just haven't given myself permission to do so as much as I would like to. So now I'm like, you know what? If I can envision a space and now it's totally created and it's for real, I can do anything that I want. And I've always thought and believed that, but now I'm like, fuck it. I'm going to do it because I want to go. Now, I haven't told work yet about all these days off. They have some people that fill in. And there's a certain number of certain number of days that we have for vacation. And I'm going to be going way over it. And to be honest with you, it's fine. Because even if I didn't work there and I was just doing my own thing, I wouldn't be getting paid vacation for anybody because it would be my own business anyway. So I just see it like I rather live my life than to be here and then get paid. Like, it's more important for me to have the freedom and the fun and the excitement and the adventure than to say, I can't because I don't have enough vacation time.
Yeah.
Don't pay me. It's fine. Like, my experiences are worth more than a day there and working. Personally, that's how I see it.
I completely agree, and I always take it one step further. In my mind, you're not just doing this for you; you're doing this for all the generations of women who didn't have that option or that choice or that opportunity. Right. That they just did not have that chance, and for us not to take it just because it's. Oh, if I work harder, I have more value. If I'm busier, I have more value. If I burn out, I have more value. You're saying, no, that is no longer going to be my story or the story of women. And if it starts with me making this decision to put money aside for that or, take time off work, that to me represents so much more than, just even one person.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I am definitely looking forward to 2018. Astrologically, it's looking like a really great year. So, by the way, I do have a planetary update that came out the end of December with one of my good friends, Jennifer Angel. And she goes over there's like 4 major things that are happening first 4 to 6 months of 2018. And then she goes through each sign and tells you what to really look for the.
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah. It's super, super great. So why don't I love to end this conversation with, oh my God, I love your meditations. I would love to end this conversation. I mean, I could talk to you for hours.
Oh, I know. But it's New Year's Eve, darling. And I think all of us, well, you and I, everybody else has kind of passed this so far. You guys know what we're going to be doing in a week from now because you're already there. But it's a time for us kind of to turn inwards a little bit. And like I said, you going out to the mountains or you spending time at the retreat tomorrow and me staying indoors when it's cold outside. Everybody has this instinct in them that's saying, okay, I just need to turn away from everything for a little bit. And this is the perfect moment for that.
Yeah. So I would love if you could lead us into it with a short meditation to kind of ground us as we head into the new year. Well, it'll be the new year already, but it'll be the very beginning of the new year.
Well, let's begin the year with a little bit of that. So everybody who's listening right now, I'm hoping that you're not driving. If you are, you can save this for later. But if you are anywhere that you can sit comfortably or lie down, I invite you to close your eyes and just begin by arriving here in this moment. Can you hear your breath? Can you feel your skin? Can you feel this moment? Start to slow down your breath so that you can draw it deeper, as if you are drawing this moment deeper into you. Inhaling through your nose, sending your breath all the way down into your belly. And with an exhale out through your mouth, relax your shoulders, your arms, your hands, and your fingers. Again, breathe in this moment, nice and deep. And then again, breathing out through your mouth, relaxing your back, your belly, your hips. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And then breathing out through your mouth, relax your legs, your ankles, your feet, and your toes. Now imagine that you are connected to the earth below you. And with each exhale, the earth relaxes. The world around you relaxes. It slows down. It's like a quiet night. Somewhere beautiful, somewhere peaceful, where everyone else is asleep and you are left to enjoy, to relax, to release, to let go. Letting your thoughts drift away like clouds in the sky across the moon. Letting them move further and further away from you, you become more calm, more relaxed, more peaceful. I want you to imagine what it would feel like if you were completely loved, completely supported. What would it feel like if there was nothing to worry about, nothing to stress over? If you could let everything go and you could just truly enjoy this moment? What would your body feel like? What would be going on in your mind? How would you breathe if you were completely free? Now I invite you to choose one word, one feeling, one emotion, one intention, something from this moment that you want to carry with you out into the rest of your day, into the rest of your week, and into the rest of your year. What do you want to feel? What do you want to experience? Who do you want to be? And instead of worrying about if it's possible, I want you to imagine it's already here. That you already are what you seek. And it's just like nature returning always back to where it began. It's your natural state. And that for the next 12 months, every time you move out of that state, away from that feeling, it's just as easy, if not easier, to move back. Effortless, easy. It only takes one breath and you're back there. Trusting that it will be there when you need it most. Placing a hand on your heart. Let's take a moment to thank ourselves for showing up, for arriving, and for setting this intention. With a deep breath in, saying silently to ourselves, thank you. And with a deep breath out, I am grateful. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and move your body. If you would like to journal or write down your word, and even if you don't, trusting that it will be there for you in your heart And it is only one breath that will bring it back to you. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Do you ever lull your dog and your husband to sleep? Do they have you talk to them until they go to sleep at night?
It really doesn't take much for those two to fall asleep, that's for sure. But I do have yoga students that fall asleep at the end of my classes. I pride myself in being the person in town that can put most of the women to sleep on a hard wooden floor.
I bet. Oh, that was so delicious. I'm going to listen to that again and again. It was so great. Thank you so much for doing that for us.
You're very welcome. And thank you everyone for participating and showing up. I know that sometimes it feels like life can be hard, but what I want for everyone is to remember that as easy as it feels to fall into the trap of doubting yourself and hating yourself, just imagine what it would be like if you found it just as easy for you to love yourself. I know we tell the story of like, oh, it's so hard for self-care. It's so hard to love ourselves. It's so hard for things to be good. Yeah, but what if it's not hard? Yeah. What if it's actually really easy? Yeah. What if loving yourself and letting love in and letting everything be good, what if that was just as easy?
How can people find you in case they don't know about you?
Ooh, for all you new listeners. Well, my website is amberchalus.com. But if you like my voice, probably the best way to find me, since you're already listening to a podcast, is to search for The Liberated Woman on iTunes or Stitcher or the podcast app, whichever app you use. And when you search The Liberated Woman, my podcast will come up, and there are plenty of episodes for you to listen to. There's some incredible ones coming up, and that is my favorite place to meet new people.
Amber, thank you so much, seriously, for taking the time out. It's New Year's Eve for both of us. I'm going to be getting ready in just a few minutes, heading out shortly. My girlfriend convinced me that we needed to go out and have dinner and dancing tonight, so I said yes.
Yeah, it's time to celebrate. And I'll tell you right now, you are not the only one dancing because my belly has been moving all day.
Aww.
So you are not the only ones dancing.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
Well, I love you. I miss you. I wish you lived closer. I'm sure I will see you in person again very soon.
Well, after March, I'm sure I'm going to need a break at some point to kind of get back into my, into my with my tribe. And you are one of those women that I love very much. So thank you so much for having me here. And thank you for hosting this show, Margaret. I know so many of us are big fans of yours, and you bring on so many incredible guests. And I know that 2018 isn't just going to be a year where you're traveling and experiencing a lot, but you're going to be bringing so much more to us because of it. So thank you for that.
Yes, definitely. Oh, thank you for those words. That was really nice to hear. Yeah, the podcast, I love. The podcast world has been it's been awesome meeting so many women and growing close to them. And I know you feel the same way.
Yeah. Well, the world is, right now it feels like there's a lot of hard things happening and a lot of hard conversations being had.
Yeah.
So we really do need to stick together and really not judge each other. And I think that is one thing that I love about this. When we're telling each other stories and sharing each other's stories and hearing other people's stories, we're saying, you know what? I see you. I hear you. I acknowledge you. And that's what the world needs more of. And that's why we love you so much.
Oh, thank you. And for all of my listeners, I really want you to dream big. This is a really big, exciting year. I want you to write down maybe 2 or 3 things that you really want to see at the end of this year, 2018, December of 2018. Some of the things that you've really been longing for and desiring. It can definitely be yours, and definitely put some plans together, write it down, brainstorm, join a mastermind, talk to some girlfriends, maybe get a coach if you're not really sure what direction to go in. But the world is your oyster, my friend, and live it to the fullest. Don't you just love her? To learn more about Amber Chalus and for all the show notes, head on over to margaretromero.com/episode 62. And if you haven't checked out my new website, head on over to margaretromero.com and check out all the things that I'm offering now in my practice. And if you are in the New York or tri-state area, if it's anything that you have questions about or desire to work with someone who practices functional medicine or looking to maybe get that libido going again, I would love to talk to you. Also, I am on Instagram at Margaret Romero. If you want to catch me on Insta Story and all that good stuff, I will be there almost daily, somewhat daily, and inspirational talks and quotes and what's going on with the practice and what I'm cooking, all kinds of things like that. So have the most amazing week, and I will talk to you all soon. Thank you so much for listening. Big hugs.